Wrestling fans, it's me, Eric Asafailo from In My Damn Opinion. From all of us at 7poundbag.com, we'd like to extend our most sincerest condolences out to the Runnels family, as this past week the world of professional wrestling did lose a true legend in the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So this week, In My Damn Opinion, is dedicated to the life and times and the memory of the one and only, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. He's just a common man, working hard for the man. Hey, he's a American dream. Hey, he's a American dream.
Wrestling fans, welcome to In My Damn Opinion. I'm your host, the one and only Eric Asafailo. As you saw at the beginning of the show, this week's episode is dedicated to the life and times of the one and only, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was an amazing talent. If you have never ever seen a Dusty Rhodes match, I highly recommend checking it out on the WWE Network that's right, just $9.99, of course. You can find some amazing classic matches in there from Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes had amazing feuds back in the NWA territory days. You know, the National Wrestling Alliance, he feuded with, such people such as Lex Luger, the Road Warriors, Nature Boy Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard. All of the old WCW pay-per-view events are on there as well, such as, Starrcade, when he had some amazing matches with them. Also, Dusty Rhodes was also the lead booker in WCW. For those of you fans who don't, know what a booker is somebody who writes up, the storylines and everything, and books the matches pretty much. Hence the term booker. And then in the late '80s, towards the beginning of the early '90s, Dusty Rhodes did, get a phone call from Vince McMahon and decided to go to the WWE, where he wore the mysterious, that's right, the yellow polka dots that only the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, was the only one who could rock those polka dots and make them look so nice. So he looked so pretty, ladies and gentlemen. So he was definitely, he was the American Dream. Had some great feuds in WWE too. He feuded with the Macho King Randy Savage, leading up to the first ever in WrestleMania history at WrestleMania 6, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Sweet Sapphire versus Macho King Randy Savage and Sensational Queen Sherri in the first ever WrestleMania mixed tag match, which also they brought the crowning jewel back. Who remembers what the crowning jewel was? God rest her soul as well, the lovely Miss Elizabeth. So, and then when, WrestleMania 7, Savage, Miss Elizabeth reunited, another time for another discussion. Then, later on in 1990, he started, Sapphire started receiving all these gifts and everything, and nobody knew who was sending Sapphire all these gifts. SummerSlam 1990 rolls around, Sapphire disappears. American Dream goes out to the ring, started the match, all of a sudden, $1 Million Man is out there, and the $1 Million Man reveals that he is the one who has been sending Sweet Sapphire all the gifts. He has bought Sweet Sapphire. So that starts the big feud between the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Fast forward to Survivor Series, both are team captains. So, and then, which leads to the debut of probably one of the greatest superstars of all time at Survivor Series 1990 during, their match, which would be The Undertaker. Highly recommend it. Check it out, Survivor Series in 1990 on the WWE Network. So, and then you fast forward to the Royal Rumble, which would be the next event, the WWE debut match of a man who would later go on to become a gentleman by the name of Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, teams up with his dad, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, to take on Virgil and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I won't spoil the ending for you. Check it out on the WWE Network. Also, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, he was a great color commentator. One thing I will always remember, one of my favorite lines from his color commentary days, it was a match between Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan at Great American Bash 1996, where they had the Falls Count Anywhere match. They were in the men's room, and Kevin Sullivan takes a bag of the hand paper, and he's getting ready to hit Chris Benoit with it. He takes the bag and he smacks him with it, and Dusty Rhodes color commentary goes, "Oh, you're gonna hit him with some toilet paper," and it was hilarious. I remember seeing that the first time and just laughing hysterically. So he also had many, he had two sons. Not only did he have Dustin, he also had Cody. Both of them tremendous talents and everything. So I can definitely see the American Dream in both of them. So most definitely, my favorite Dusty Rhodes memory I will always hold near and dear to my heart is the fact that how much Dusty Rhodes reminded me of my grandfather. I lost my grandfather back in October of last year after many health issues, just like the American Dream did. And I can remember growing up at a young age and how much my grandfather loved the old NWA and WCW, and just sitting there with him at being such a young age. And always my grandfather reminded me of Dusty Rhodes. Had the same look, the cowboy look, wearing the flannel shirts, the boots and the jeans and everything, same body style. My grandfather reminded me so much of Dusty. So, getting to grow up, how much my grandfather loved wrestling, and we would sit there and we would watch Dusty Rhodes on TV, and it was something that I hold near and dear to my heart. I still wish to this day I could get one more, just sit there and watch one more match with my grandfather. I know he's up in heaven right now with my grandmother, but I still wish every day I could just watch just one more Dusty Rhodes match with him. So, but I know now Dusty Rhodes is up there as well. So, maybe he's getting to watch Dusty Rhodes up in heaven. Having great feuds with some of the other legends that have passed. One of Dusty Rhodes' probably most famous feuds he ever had was with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Both of them main evented a couple of Starrcade events. Highly recommend going on the WWE Network to check it out. So speaking of Ric Flair, leads me to my second topic of today's discussion. Who did more for professional wrestling? Was it Hulk Hogan or was it the Nature Boy Ric Flair? All right, you got to go. Both of them are leading in their own categories. Who is better in the actual sport of professional wrestling? No doubt about it, it's the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, for God's sakes, I could have a better match with this desk than anybody could have with Hulk Hogan. Honestly, Hulk Hogan could not wrestle. Nature Boy Ric Flair would go out there, 7 days a week, sometimes twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, go out there, have 60-minute matches for the title, and you could be entertained every time, no matter what. Ric Flair would go out there and have a match. The man was an amazing talent and, 16-time world champion. Yes, that means he lost it 16 times, but also mean he was, not selfish and he was willing to put guys over. Ric Flair did what was best for business when it came to stuff in the ring. However, though, if you're talking about bringing media attention to professional wrestling, there's no doubt it's got to be Hulk Hogan. Before Hulk Hogan in the 1980s, yeah, people sat there and watched wrestling and everything, but it was more local. Wasn't as much on the main screen as it was until Hulk Hogan came along in the 1980s. You don't believe me? Go back and watch stuff leading up to WrestleMania 1 when him and Mr. T were teaming up to face Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in the main event of WrestleMania. Go back, watch all that. They hosted Saturday night's main event. They appeared on late night talk shows promoting. Everybody in the 80s knew who Hulk Hogan was. Not only that, Hulk Hogan had many, he had a movie career. I mean, he did such classics as Suburban Commando. I mean, that's Oscar worthy, ain't it? I mean, didn't that win Best Picture or something at the Oscars? Or I don't even know. Or maybe that was Mr. Nanny, I think, won Best Picture at the Oscars. I don't know. But he brought mainstream media into the world of professional wrestling. So you can't choose which one is better because both of them lead in their own topics. So both of them are definitely very good. And another strange fact, I got two strange facts for you before I go. Did you know that at WrestleMania 8, the original main event was actually supposed to be Hulk Hogan versus the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship? However, though, the reason why that did not happen, they did that main event at a few house shows. Apparently, it bored people to tears, for God's sakes. So the WWE, not wanting to risk what they felt was their biggest show of the year, and we all know WrestleMania is, they did not want to risk that. So what did they do? They put up separate main events, made Nature Boy Ric Flair defend the WWF Championship against the Macho Man Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan versus the one and only Sid Justice. Yeah, WrestleMania 8, the match that definitely stole the show there was Roddy Piper versus, Bret the Hitman Hart for the Intercontinental title. That's another discussion for another time. Right now we're focusing on Hogan and Ric Flair. So if you have to, I'd check it out. The Hogan Sid Justice match ain't nothing special, but definitely Flair and Savage. That's a classic right there. One more strange fact, and I'll leave this since the show's been dedicated to the memory of Dusty Rhodes. We will leave you with this strange fact. Did you know that when WCW created Clash of the Champions, which all of the old Clash of the Champions are available on the WWE Network for just $9.99, Dusty Rhodes was the man who created Clash of the Champions. Definitely something I would recommend going out and checking out, the Clash of the Champions. Lots of good classic action there. So, once again, I'm Eric Asafailo, and this has been In My Damn Opinion.
He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. He's just a common man, working hard for the man. Hey, he's American dream. Hey, he's American dream.
I'm Eric Asafailo, and I approve this message.